I don't even know
Are we
when our
back?
last episode was.
It was like 2 months ago.
Was it?
I think so.
2 months ago?
Probably.
I'll have to check.
Yeah. We had an attempt at an episode maybe like a month ago.
Well, don't jinx it.
Yeah. But yeah, that never came to fruition for multiple reasons.
Yeah. I don't even know. I mean, we're quite rusty
Yeah.
when it comes to this, and so much has passed us by.
So much has happened since the last time we
Well,
recorded
yeah.
or even tried to record.
I think the last episode, if I'm looking at this correctly, was nostalgia in March.
Okay. So
So
even more than 2
4
months.
months ago.
Oh my God.
We haven't recorded, and it feels like 2 months ago.
Maybe 2 months was the attempt.
I can tell you exactly what the attempt was. May 16th.
Okay. So like a month ago.
A month ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if you've forgotten, welcome to While She's Napping. I am Adam.
And I'm Cindy.
And yeah, schedules are quite the motherfucker.
And losing your voice for 3 weeks, which is what happened to me.
Yes. And COVID scares and daycare dismissals and closings and, you know, all the above. Okay. Anyways, so we have a lot that we have at least on the table to put on the docket.
Specific to this topic, you mean?
No.
Or no, in general, because
For-
it's been so long.
Yes. Obviously, Roe v. Wade, we could talk about. We could talk, not today, just in the future. We could talk about fucking vaccines for our children now
Thank God.
that we can have 20G in the house. It's going to be amazing. The babes are coming to Rhode Island sometime in July.
Yeah, like a month from now. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe we'll record another episode before then. Maybe not.
We can talk about how I'm discovering that, and this is not, we're not sponsored, but I'm having an identity crisis when it comes to fresh, clean teas and true classic teas. I've been a true classic tea loyalist,
Yes.
and I decided to buy some fresh, clean teas, and
It's because you got one TCT that fit a little different than the other ones used to, and you like were done
went
with
on a
it.
rampage.
Yeah, you've been looking for an alternative.
Fresh, clean teas are nice.
I guess so.
I'm wearing the green one right now.
I know.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's plenty. There was the mass shooting in Texas at the elementary school a couple
We already
weeks
talked
ago.
about the Second Amendment, though.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like there's more to say now, and I think you and I have both learned a little bit more since the episode. I feel like it was a very cursory discussion,
I don't know.
very surface level. Anyway, I'm just saying there's a lot that's happened in the world over the last few months
Yeah.
since we've last been here. So we've got a lot of potential topics on the list. If we can ever have an uninterrupted evening to record.
Well, we're trying.
We're trying.
That being said, let's get into today's topic. Now,
First, listener feedback.
Oh, yeah. Shout out. What do you... I mean, I'm not drinking.
It's a pink apple and lemon polar seltzer.
I will say, sorry, I am drinking. I am
New flavor.
drinking. I think those give me some bloating issues.
I've noticed.
This one in particular.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I like this one.
this one.
Well, I am
can
fine
fuck with
you
the
not-
orange vanilla.
Yes, that one's really good too. But I approve of your decision not to drink one. If that's the result.
Ripping farts, kid.
Yeah, let's not.
Anyways, we are going to try to stay away from the MLM side of Beachbody tonight, or today, whenever you're listening to this. I want to focus on the workouts because we did the MLM episode previously, and it was geared towards your experience with Beachbody as a MLM or an MLM company.
Right. Full disclosure is that I was a coach for Beachbody for several years, but it's been a long time. This was in I want to say 2013, maybe 2014.
When you were part of the cult?
Yeah, it's been almost a decade.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people last longer than that in a cult.
Oh, I know.
Anyways, so the reason why I want to bring this up is because, I peruse Reddit a lot, and I have utilized Beachbody Workouts for quite a while, especially during the pandemic, and I don't think I'm alone when it comes to that.
Right.
During the height of the pandemic.
Yes, more people were working out at home probably than
everyone had to.
Well, right, gyms were closed for a long time.
Everybody that was working out at home.
Yes.
Unless you lived in Florida.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you were a runner or something, like nothing changed about that. But right, if you used to go to a gym, you were no longer going to a gym.
Chances are.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I see a lot of differences between the older programs, and I say older as in the classics, the P90X, the Insanity, Chalene Extreme. What was the other one? Slim and Six.
Yeah. Should we talk about kind of like where we started with Beachbody Workouts and like?
Well, yeah. Let me finish that thought.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
I've seen a difference in quality of the actual workouts, and not just that, the safety aspect of them.
Yep.
And how they have diminished into the present day.
Okay.
So in other words, they have gotten more dangerous in terms of their compound movements in present day, in my opinion. And the quality of the actual workout has gotten poorer.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you can't break a sweat. Of course you can, but you can break a sweat running in place. That doesn't mean you're getting a quality workout for what is being advertised. So go ahead. Start us off from where we.
Yeah, I just think it'd be helpful to give when we're giving our opinion or sort of our evaluation of how things are now versus how they were then. It might help to talk about, which workouts we've done and where we started and which ones we've done to just help define those kind of categories of old and new.
I consider us experts.
Sound like you said sexperts.
No. I consider us experts when it comes to Beachbody.
I mean, we're no stranger. We've been involved with Beachbody one way or another. Like I said, we're not going to really talk about the MLM piece, but at that time when I was as a coach, which I never really... That. No, we started way before that with the workouts, but I'm saying we were really into, like, I was very up to date on all the new things coming out, the new trainers. Like, I was very involved. So like we've been doing a pretty deep dive into Beachbody for a long time. But yeah, the first workout that either of us ever did from Beachbody was P90X.
Yes. Kicks my ass.
Yeah. And it was super challenging. It was, the workouts were really long. Like there was a 90-minute yoga. And it was full body, very intense, but we were at a point where we could do that, right? We were in our early mid 20s and didn't have kids. And for me anyway, it was perfect because I had the time to dedicate to it and I enjoyed it. And it was good for where we were fitness wise. Like we weren't so incredibly out of shape that we just had to start with like walking a few days a week, we kind of jumped right in. And that being said, I felt like in a way it felt complicated, but in another way it was all based in the most foundational movements.
Very antiquated, classic.
Slow progression, and that's part of the reason why the workouts were so long is because it wasn't rushed. Each set was very intentional, very slow to focus on your form, to focus on making sure you're using the right weight and you have time to switch weights and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated that aspect. As we became more familiar with the other programs that Beachbody offered, I did things like Slim and Six, which I had amazing results with, but again, 6 weeks program. So they're not permanent results, obviously. You lose it fast, you can gain it back fast.
Nothing is permanent result.
I understand. It's
nothing is advertised as a permanent result.
I understand that. I just think part of the other component of P90X of why I think it was a higher quality sort of, I don't want to say permanent, but like longer term solution is because it was 90 days. It was a much longer period,
Sure.
like Slim in 6 or 21 Day Fix. They're 3 6-week programs, and you will probably have decent results if you are sticking to it and you're also eating well and doing, like, you're cutting your calories and you're exercising pretty intensely every day for several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you're going to lose weight, but as soon as you stop doing that program, it's going to come right back on.
It depends.
Most of the time.
Not that I'm dealing with semantics here. As long as you're doing something else,
sure,
the weight will stay off. But if the goal is to lose weight,
right, or you keep repeating those programs until you plateau and you need something different.
Yes. If you stop doing everything entirely,
yes,
of course. But that's with anything.
Yes. I'm just saying P90X was a longer. I feel like there's a better chance that you would start to see that as a lifestyle versus
P90X instilled discipline.
Yes.
21 Day Fix does not.
No, and they say it's 21 days to change a habit. Apparently that's rooted in some sort of science or psychology. I'm not familiar enough to say whether or not that's true, but I know we'll get to that. But anyway, I just feel like, yes, P90X was a different beast of a workout than a lot of the more modern ones, but there were some other ones sprinkled in that I really enjoyed. I liked Chalene Extreme. Mm-hmm. I did that for a while. I liked Pio, so I was kind of a Chalene fan. And then I started getting into, then Autumn Calabrese came around, and I did 21 Day Fix, 21 Day Fix Extreme. Then there were like the boxing ones, like the mixed martial arts with Joel Freeman and I forget the redhead trainer's name.
Fire. What? Cinnamon.
Okay. Yeah, I'm blanking on her name. But I really enjoyed those workouts too, because I always, I really liked sort of like kickboxing, and that sort of style of exercise always resonated well with me. I always liked that. I think because it's similar to dance, which is what I grew up doing. It's like learning the choreography and you kind of are distracted. You don't really feel like you're working out because you're learning a routine. Jericho. Yeah. And then I did, there's like the bar workouts they've come out with recently, with Elise, I think is the trainer's name. And that mixed feelings because I did grow up doing ballet and I was a competitive dancer. And so there are some things in there where I'm like, that's not proper technique, but like, okay. Like if you know how to prevent injury, you can probably get by. But it was missing that, like, the foundational thing that P90X really had. And were there any other sort of foundational ones like P90X that you lump into that category of
Insanity? I did.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Because Insanity is a pure cardio program. I think the gold standard of any Beachbody work, the best one they've ever created, period, is Body Beast. Period.
Well, that's the one that you like because you want to lift and
there's a cardio aspect to it. It is the most well-rounded program that you can do that it gives you, that encourages progression and progressive overload.
Okay, yep.
P90X vaguely mentions it.
Yeah, but that depends on your goals. Like if you're, I have enjoyed a lot of their yoga programs too. Especially I did the prenatal and postnatal ones. There's not a huge variety, but I enjoyed them. They were good just to keep me moving. But I'm just saying, like, depending on your situation, depending on what your goals are, not everyone's going to want that type of a workout like you're describing that Body Beast gives you.
Yeah, P90X is for everyone.
Yes.
It's for everyone.
And I think 21 Day Fix can be too. I feel like
the problem
that
with
was
21
the start.
Day Fix.
Okay.
Sorry. The problem with 21 Day Fix I have is that from what I've been reading and listening to, obviously it's all in hindsight, but these containers promote eating disorders.
Well, that's the nutrition side. I thought, are we going to talk about that, or are we just focusing on the
into it
workouts?
It's lumped into it because that's what made P90X and Insanity and Body Beast so great, is because, and I'm sure Chalene, and I'm sure in its own way Slim and 6, probably not to the degree of P90X and the aforementioned programs, so we can exclude Slim and 6, but their nutrition plan was very well rounded, and it was nuts and bolts when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah, but I never stuck to one of them.
Of course, but that's where the discipline comes in when it comes. Like P90X gave you a way to do it while eating fast food. There was a portion of their nutrition program that said if you need to get fast food, if you're in a pinch, these things will fit into the program.
Sure. I think when I did P90X, and even when I did Slim and Six and some of those earlier ones, I don't think I really did a strict nutrition plan. I was just overall trying to eat.
Well, we were getting newbie gains, right?
Well, so yeah, but we also never really had a really incredibly poor diet. Like we've never really been people who eat fast food or
no. But
like we generally knew how to eat healthy, but I wasn't like counting my macros or counting my calories or portioning or weighing my food. I was just trying to eat a balanced diet.
No, but that's
all I needed when I was doing something like P90X.
Apparently 21 Day Fix, the containers, they promote EDs because of it's really hard to escape that. So 21 Day Fix is a massive calorie cutting program, and it's like if it fits in this box, it's good. Whereas if you're going to continue to work out and continue to progress and move on from, you're going to have to increase your calories. You're going to have to increase your intake. You have to.
Yeah, but if you follow what it actually, I'm gonna defend it a little bit here because I did use the container system for a long time. I used those and I wasn't ultra strict about it except for the one time I did 21 Day Fix Extreme, and I did have incredible results for 3 weeks because I didn't cheat at all and I exercised every single day. I never missed one. But over the long term, I used the containers as a guide. I think I combined it. You. I know, but I guess what I'm saying is it can be used to help you just frame, like, in general, to try to start thinking about food in those macronutrient categories. And I think that combined with like a little bit of intuitive eating and making sure that if you feel like you're starving or if you've increased your how many calories you're burning, like if you start doing something new or you're increasing your exercise or for whatever reason you're building more muscle and you're burning more calories, you need to increase what you're eating.
I think that's what she would have said when 21 Day Fix came out, when she wasn't batshit crazy.
Yes. Now I'm talking about when I did 21 Day Fix and the original intent of the program and how it was set up.
When she was green as fuck. Like, and I mean like unseasoned Beachbody. Now she's crazy.
Yeah.
She being on calories. But
I'm talking about the program in and of itself and the containers themselves. I don't think necessarily I'm not saying it can't have that effect that you're describing, but I feel like they can also be used as a tool to help you kind of adjust the way that you view your food and your portions. That was the other thing. Like when I would put my food into the 3 containers and then dump everything on a plate, my plate was usually way fuller than I thought it would have been if I had just kind of scooped the food freehand and put what I thought my portion should be. So usually on that plan, except when I did Extreme, I was eating more food. Like it was hard for me to actually get all my containers in the day.
The reason why I'm bringing all this up is just in a nutshell, we sort of touched on it, but just to put it out there, I find that the newer programs are pretty much the same thing, just in a different presentation. Mm-hmm. Like we mentioned about P90X and Body Beast and Insanity, there's only so many fitness moves. Really, there are, right? There's only so many variations of a squat. There's only so many variations of a bicep curl. There's only so many variations of, actually there's one variation of a lunge, maybe 2 if you do forward and then backwards.
You can do side lunges too.
Sure, but they're just directional, right?
Sure.
There's not
But there's a reason for it. You're working a different muscle when you do a lunge in a different direction.
Sure, but those things have been around for decades.
Yes.
Or hundreds of years. These things, push-ups, there's only so many different types of push-ups.
Because you only have so many muscle groups.
I hear you. But what I'm saying is Beachbody now with the newer program have come to terms with this and say, all right, yes, there's only so many variations of a push-up we can do, but what we're going to do is we're going to make you jump up and down a bunch of times and then do a push-up and then stand up and do a tricep kickback and then while after that do a bend over row into a fly.
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing with you.
That it's a clusterfuck.
And it's because they ran out of muscles. Like there's, like I said, like there's certain exercises that you do to work certain muscle groups. And in something like P90X, it was very clear. Even in 21 Day Fix, because it was like you did arms one day, you did legs. Split. It was
a bro split.
Yeah, sure.
A bro split is isolating a muscle group a day.
And so you knew why you were doing each exercise, and each day was set up such that you would work all of your muscles. And in these programs you're talking about now that are like so heavy on combinations.
Compound movements, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you don't have a good direction of what you're working or why.
It's total body, but it's unsafe.
But you can do total body when still focusing on one muscle group at a time.
Yeah, that's what it makes it unsafe, right? So, and they include all these weird fucking things, like these weird equipment apparatus thing that you don't need. So, Autumn Calabrese just released is releasing a new program. I think it's called...
It's the gut one?
Yeah, but it's accompanied with the gut one. I think it's called For Everyone or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
And there was a sample workout. 4 weeks for everybody. So it's 4 weeks for every body.
Along with the 4-week gut protocol.
Yeah, which is... I don't even want to talk about it, but there was a sample workout that she tossed on YouTube. And her move, one of the moves is to do a bicep curl while counting to 4, while walking forward 4 steps and walking backward 4 steps. And I feel like the mentality around that for people that don't know better is like, wow, I'm walking forward and back. That's inevitably burning extra calories. It's really not. It is so...
I don't think you're giving people enough credit. I don't think people think that.
Fine, but...
I think people are just doing what the trainer is telling them to do.
It is so pointless.
I know.
It is pointless. You can literally stand there.
Do
a curl and count to 4.
Yeah.
And
get a better result because you're focusing
focused
on the muscle group that you're working. Yes, I understand that. The only possible thing I can think of that would be beneficial is if it's a mental thing, like working on your coordination of being able to do 2 things at once. But if your goal is to exercise your bicep muscle, then you should focus on exercising your bicep muscle.
It's like they're thinking, all right, how are we going to make this bicep curl harder? We can kneel. No, we already did that in P90X. What else can we do? We can do them to the side. No, we already did that to the Body Beast. I don't know, just fucking walk forward and fucking walk backwards for 4 seconds.
Well, at least that one's not that dangerous. This seems pointless, though.
Revolutionary.
Yeah.
You know, and they do stupid shit with a ball between their legs as if that's working anything. It's not.
Like what?
So they'll do like a press up.
Mm-hmm.
A shoulder press, while holding the ball in between your thighs because they're like, it's working your core. It's not. It doesn't do anything.
Holding something between your knees does work your inner thighs.
It's pointless. And look, there are things that the OG programs do in Insanity, for instance, that I too point out and say, that's stupid, that's pointless, but they are so few and far between in comparison,
I guess,
to the updated programs. For example, so like I find myself still cranking out an Insanity cardio when I work out at home because it's just, it hits it good.
Yeah.
And
when you can always increase the intensity just by increasing your intensity. Sure. Like
they'll do these things called mountain climbers. And when people that are in the fitness world think mountain climbers, you think you're on a plank and you're driving your knees to your chest. That's not what it's called. It's what he being Sean T, describes as a mountain climber is you're standing up and your knees are going up and you're reaching for the ceiling with your hands.
Just standing mountain
and I'm just
climber.
Like, just do high knees. This does nothing. Your arms flailing up in the air are doing nothing. Just do high knees. That's all you need to do.
I guess.
And he does these things called the mummy kicks where you keep your legs relatively straight. And I just kicked the trash can because I'm doing it with my feet. You keep your knees kind of locked and you just kick them forward.
Stretch?
You slightly kick your legs forward, but you're also you're switching your hands back and forth. I'm just like, this is pointless. That's a
coordination thing.
It's stupid. It does nothing. It adds nothing.
I guess. I mean, coordination and balance are also important.
But coordination isn't fitness. Coordination is something that you can do independent.
I mean, it's kind of part of it. Like, having good coordination and balance helps you in like
but this
functional
isn't balancing
movements.
me. This does not balance me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so those are just small
that
things.
is nitpicky. I think the issue is when it becomes dangerous, to your point. And, you know, we said that we weren't going to talk about the MLM side too much, but I think you can't really address the changes that have happened and how the workouts have, like, what they are now versus what they were then.
Like, we get a lot of feedback.
Addressing the nature of the company and how they promote their workouts.
Yes. Yeah. It's especially when it comes to, all right. So I don't know if this is where you were going with this. So we're going to get into the feedback in the second half of the episode, but I took to Reddit for the feedback. And if you're lumping in the MLM aspect to this, you're lumping in the target demographic. And if you listen to the MLM episode that we published, I did say at the time, and I really wasn't too in touch with it. I just sort of threw it out there because all the MLM companies that we're aware of, maybe at the time, besides Beachbody, were very women-centric, like makeup companies or I don't want to say
essential oils.
I don't want to say Tupperware because that's for everyone, but you know, like Tupperware, I think was the first one, and they hired women to go. Well,
there was also like Avon and Mary Kay, and there were some others,
makeup and stuff, or LuLaRoe or whatever.
LuLaRoe, the leggings.
Sure. So it was very geared towards women. So now the MLM side of Beachbody is not saved from that.
Right. And the one distinction that I remember talking about on that episode was, and the reason why I kind of defended it a little bit was just because it's not based on product. Like with those other companies, like you have to buy the product up front and then you're responsible for that inventory. And if you don't sell it, you're fucked.
Right.
Beachbody wasn't really like that. It's like your clients or whatever, the people you're selling to.
It's more pyramid.
It is, yes, more so than, which doesn't make it better. I mean, still, you know, whatever. But it was, I'm like, well, at least I didn't get stuck with this, like thousands of dollars worth of inventory and like go into debt. Yeah. Like,
right. Powders and what is it? Power loops.
Power loops.
Yeah. What's the thing? The track that I guess you stopped.
Yeah.
So Autumn has a new.
Oh.
It's like the power track.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like you have to buy a shit ton of those and then try to distribute.
Well, because that's not where Beachbody sales come from. It comes from coaches bringing on new coaches.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not product sales. And I think that has a lot to do with how the workouts have developed over time, is because that demographic that they want, the people that they're targeting for their audience for their workouts are the
moms.
People that they're targeting to become new coaches, because that's where people make their money in the company.
Stay-at-home moms, military wives.
Yep.
That's what they're targeting. So that's the
people
type
who
of
want
workout.
A quick workout. That it's not the people like you who want that like heavy lifting, could substitute for going to the gym sort of thing. They're targeting people who don't have a lot of time and would also fit the same demographic for being a good target, or who would be vulnerable for falling into an MLM or a pyramid scheme. Yeah.
And I think, you know, first of all, I want to say up front, there's nothing wrong with wanting to get a quick workout in. I don't fault anybody for having the mentality of, even though I disagree with the core belief system of this personally, if someone says I only have 30 minutes a day, without me saying I call bullshit, but let's just accept that at face value. And I'll say, okay, fine, fair. I don't blame you for wanting to put in some sort of physical activity for the allotted 30 minutes that you have, but this ain't it, because this can hurt you.
Yeah.
These new programs can hurt you. You are way better off just going for a jog.
Especially if you're a beginner.
Yes, you are way better off just going for a walk.
Who's being targeted.
And then going for a jog.
Right. But with like this new Autumn program, it's like for everybody. That kind of implies that it doesn't matter what your fitness level is, what your experience is, whether or not you've done any programs before, if you've ever set foot in a gym. It's saying this is for everybody at all levels.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
In theory.
In theory.
Yes.
But then you have to give foundational movements that can then be modified for people who are more advanced or who want it to be more intense. But it can't be this like combination, like
these compound movements.
Yeah, because if you're a beginner and you don't have that foundation, you don't understand how to make the movement safe and, take away certain elements so that you feel comfortable. You're just going to do what the trainer is telling you to do, and you will probably hurt yourself.
And you think that's fitness, and you think your pain is, oh, I'm just sore.
Yeah, and you can't differentiate if you've never experienced that before.
You don't know, right? So the thing about it, though, in Beachbody, especially on their streaming service, there's at least one solid program for beginners. It's the prequel to P90X. So Power 90. It's boring as fuck. It's so 90s.
Yeah.
And
Slim and Six was too.
I'm talking 1992, not the 90s that we,
it looks like it's out of VHS.
Yes. But it's basics. Yeah. It is just basic, bare bones. The quality is shit in terms of video production and where they are on their set
technology.
And whatnot. Yeah. But if you just ignore the noise and just do the moves for a beginner, you're safe. And it's basic. It's just basic. You learn the fundamentals of fitness and you're good. The problem is no one wants to do something from 1992.
Because it's boring.
Right. But I'll do something from 2005. But
is that how old Body Beast is?
No, Body Beast came out in 2010.
Okay.
Insanity came out in 2005 or around there.
That makes sense.
But that's the problem. So the problem is that they've, again, in terms of a business sense, there's nothing wrong with targeting a certain demographic that's the majority of your income is located, right? So if stay-at-home moms or just, we'll say middle-aged mom, not even middle-aged, just, I don't know, 30s to 50s.
Busy moms, working moms, stay-at-home moms,
so we'll
whatever.
Say like the
parents
demographic,
in general.
The 30 to 50-year-old females, whatever you're doing, if that's the demographic, then yes, you have to gear something like Body Beast, by and large, probably won't appeal to you. Something like P90X probably, in theory, would in terms of what it offers, but in terms of a lot of time that you need to do it, probably wouldn't appeal to you. Insanity might be a little too hardcore for you, and that's not an insult. I'm just saying, like, just to jump in on Insanity.
It's not really a beginner program.
It's not.
No.
And so that might not be it for you. So I understand the allure and the being compelled to do something that's 35 minutes tops. But the thing is that what you're not realizing is these programs that are advertising between like 20 and 30 minutes, that doesn't include warm-up, doesn't include cool down. That's the workout time. You're responsible to do that on your own. And they vaguely mention it. But
they do very brief warm-ups and cool downs.
They don't emphasize the importance of you got to cool your body down like they did in the old programs.
Yeah.
That was a big, they said, do not skip this.
Right. I mean, so one distinction I want to make is when you said, there's nothing wrong with a business targeting its demographic or its audience. Like that's
business.
A business. Yeah. But I think the distinction here is that they're not necessarily targeting those groups of people or that demographic because those are the people that would want to do those workouts and consume their product. I mean, that's part of it, but I think the bigger goal is to get those people to become part of the MLM. Like, that's why they're targeting those people.
I don't know that that's true anymore because we haven't mentioned this. From what I'm understanding, Beachbody is apparently phasing out the MLM aspect.
All right. Well, maybe there's just, when you said that to me the other day, it's the first time I ever heard of it.
Sure.
But I'm not really like involved, so it's easy to think that I wouldn't have heard of it elsewhere. But I think over the last few years, like maybe the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, they want you to be part of the...
I feel like that was the goal. It's not that they were making workouts because they thought that these certain types of people would buy the workouts or appreciate the workouts or make use of them. It's because they wanted them to be attracted to the workouts so that they would become coaches.
I think there's something more to that too. And I just want to make this clear if I haven't already. There's nothing wrong with women being the primary audience for Beachbody, if that's the case. I'm not criticizing that, and I'm not criticizing women wanting a shorter workout. I want to make that clear, if that's the case.
Yes, but again, I think that's because women are more vulnerable to being preyed on by MLMs.
Whatever the reason is, I just want to say that if there are beginners or people that are seeking some sort of at-home fitness and they're attracted to the fact that Beachbody workouts are 30 minutes, there's nothing wrong with that.
Of course not. I mean, that's mostly what I've ever done. Like,
sure.
With the exception of when I first did P90X, I've mostly done the 30-minute program.
I think what psychologically that Beachbody is really, really good at doing is that prior to these newer programs, so if we're talking again, like the P90X, the Body Beast, the Insanity, there was never even though some of those had sequels, there was never a wait until the next program. There was like this unspoken thing that you can do this forever.
Yeah.
You can do this again and again and again, and you'll stay in shape. You just have to increase your, again, progressive overload when it comes to at least Body Beast and P90X. Just increase your weights, maybe up your rep range, whatever.
Well, and they usually, I think even still, as far as like with 21 Day Fix and all of the ones that I've done, they have a modifier and an intensifier usually.
Sure. So like
you have different versions of.
You get better.
Yeah.
Obviously, yes, P90X was the first program to come out with sequels as a result, because P90X just set the home fitness off the mat. Now they've become so attached, they being Beachbody, have become so attached to the next program, is that is what I feel like psychologically customers are geared now to, is saying, okay, I finished this one. Time to put that on the shelf and maybe revisit it. But there's no emphasis by the trainers, quote unquote trainers, or the people that are quote unquote developing these programs, that you can continue to do this forever.
Well, they do say it, but I know what you mean. It's not marketed that way.
It's not pushed.
Because they don't make money off people repeating the same program that they already purchased.
Well,
now it's on demand, so it doesn't really matter. But
right? Yeah. So that is what I think. Maybe not the dictating factor, but a good indicator that this is a solid program. If you can say to yourself, I could do this again a little bit more intense, or ramp up the intensity, and continue to do that, I will get better results. If you cannot say that about a program, that says something about the program. If you've exhausted the program the first time, that's a shitty program.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Beachbody is doing now, because they're saying, just gotta keep cranking out new ones, because you have to. That's your business model. But again, there's only so many variations of different moves that you can make.
Yeah, but I guess that doesn't really make sense to me now that I said that, because now that there is Beachbody on demand, they're not selling individual programs. That's not how they make their money anyway. So why do you need to come out with a new program constantly if you have this huge library already on demand?
You shouldn't have to. It should. Now that you,
I understand that when people were buying the DVDs and buying the programs, you'd want them to buy a new pack, a new challenge pack, or a new whatever. But now that it's all on demand, I don't understand what the motivation is for constantly coming out with new content when you already have so much content on your streaming service. So
they're moving more towards live classes.
Okay, to compete with Peloton, probably.
Yes, I think that is the thing now.
Yeah,
is Peloton has basically said, we'll fucking take it from here, Beachbody.
I can see why.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about Peloton. You're more into that than I am. I've never done a single Peloton anything.
I've still only dabbled, but so far everything I've done, I've loved.
I haven't heard any complaints about them. Nearly to the extent
expensive. It's more expensive.
No, I'm saying in terms of the quality of the workout, and
they seem great
if it's safe.
Yeah. Very simple. Everything I've done has been very basic and very simple, and things are accurately labeled as such: intermediate, beginner, advanced,
in fairness, they do that in on Beachbody on demand.
Yeah, but then they say it's something for everybody, and then they're throwing you, compound movements with 7 different
four-step bicep curl.
Right.
It's the only way to do a bicep curl correctly. And you're burning 100 extra calories per step. I just think that we can break here before we get into the feedback, because there's a lot. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for quick workouts, and by quick, I mean you don't have a lot of time, so you're just trying to squeeze a 30-minute workout in, I understand the allure of Beachbody. I just don't recommend it, just for your safety. And if you're trying to get if you're not trying to like get toned and get the quote unquote Beachbody, and you're just trying to get in shape, maybe lose a couple pounds, get a little healthier in terms of, I don't know, your caloric intake or whatever, I honestly just encourage you to go for a walk for a half hour and then eventually ramp up that intensity. Turn into a jog after like a week or two, then turn it into a run. And it's safer and you'll get much better results. And you're more apt to stick with that than a shitty...
And you can find simple yoga or stretching workouts even on YouTube.
On YouTube for free, right. So I would stay away from the newer Beachbody programs personally.
Yeah, and one quick thing that I know we're going to focus on the feedback you got from Reddit, but months ago when we were first going to record this episode, we had put up some Instagram questions, and there was one thing that had stuck out to me, and you had just said it, like if you're trying to get to the quote unquote Beachbody, I feel like that alone is kind of a turnoff. The name of the company,
I mean, it's old.
It is, but like it's the whole like, I don't know. There were a few people who responded who were like, that just gives me like the icks. Like everybody has a beach. Like you can go to the beach no matter what you look like. Like it just is like I don't know. It is a very antiquated like.
It is, but I'm gonna have to disagree because I do think there is a notion of what everybody's understanding. Yes, everybody has a body if you go to a beach, but that's the facts.
Yes, but like it's just this. If the focus is supposed to be this whole like wellness thing of like
now it is
moving your body and
now it is
taking care of yourself, and exactly, I'm saying that the name Beachbody doesn't align with that, and it's antiquated, and it's saying like you need to get like this fit 6-pack
so.
like Beachbody.
I think in P90X times, yes, but I think now. So does everybody that's a dad have a dad bod? No, there's a specific thing that we call a dad bod. It's a specific mold. So yes, I'm a dad. I don't think I have a dad bod.
Right.
But I'm a dad and I have a body.
I know.
So if you go to a beach, you have a beach body, but we have an understanding of what a quote unquote beach body is.
Yes, and that understanding is antiquated and kind of insulting.
I don't think it's insulting.
Okay.
I don't think it's insulting. I think it's...
I don't think I have a quote unquote beach body as they would represent, like, characterize it, but I feel like if I go to the beach, I look fine.
I didn't say you don't. I don't disagree.
I don't know. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but I just think it contributes to like people being put off by Beachbody, whether it's because of the workouts or some of the trainers going cuckoo the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's more it.
I think it's just a combination. The fact that there's the MLM thing involved, it's just like the whole picture is just like.
I don't think that's not on the radar. I just think it's probably one of the last things on the radar. I think the MLM, the weird maybe trainers come first.
I'm saying for people who aren't very familiar with the company or haven't ever, they're like, just first glance, that name.
Yeah,
like, I'm all set.
I feel you. Kind of like Bang Bus.
Sure. I don't want to know. Let's break.
You don't know what Bang Bus is?
No.
Oh, man. Send Cindy some DMs of some Bang Bus.
Oh, God.
Let's break. So this time, I actually did the reaching out to people. And again, I'm a frequent on Beachbody Workouts, the subreddit, just to get a taste of what people, again.
And I'm a boomer, so I can't do Reddit.
Yeah, I don't. I literally only do, full disclosure, we are members of Beachbody On Demand. We've said this on the MLM episode. I am a member of Beachbody On Demand to literally do two workouts. I do this. I switch up the cardio
almost every day.
Yeah, I switch up the cardio routines. Like I'll jump back and forth. So on a Monday, I'll do one, and then Tuesday, I'll do the other one. I'll just go in that order. Whereas we share our password. Sorry, Carl Deichler. We share our password with friends, and they use it. So it's whatever. It's fine. But I go to the subs, or rather the sub, r/Beachbody Workouts, and they hate the MLM aspect, and their discussion points are only based on the programs and the workouts.
Right.
And they are not shy to talk about first of all, they're not shy to call out Autumn or bullshit.
Yeah. At
all. They don't bend the knee to Autumn. Like a lot of people do, especially on Instagram when it comes to the new Beachbody, the Hunbots. But also, if something is dangerous, they'll call it out as such, in their opinion. So,
well, quick clarification. Do you have any way of knowing the qualifications of the people commenting on a sub like that? Like, are they just everyday people like us, which
yes.
we have no qualifications? We're just talking about this from our experience. But like, are there, certified personal trainers or people with degrees in exercise physiology or like anyone?
No, I mean, you and I have watched a lot of Brianna Jewell.
Yeah.
And she's a certified personal trainer, and she's a registered dietitian to be, she says. And I think she's a nutritionist as well. I could be wrong about that, but she critiques hardcore.
Yes.
And most of the time,
I'm just wondering if I'm not saying that it has to be, that's a minimum criteria for commenting. I'm just curious if you've had anybody with expertise who has said, I'm an expert in this. Okay.
But for instance, I have one that says I was a Beachbody Live instructor for a PIO size.
Oh, that probably doesn't mean anything.
Nothing. But I'm just saying
because they'll hire anybody.
No, you're right. But she mentions older programs. Yeah. So she's been
around for a while.
I am assuming this is a female because of her username, but she's been around Beachbody products, or at least workouts, for quite a while.
Yeah.
So she has a good understanding of past versus present.
Okay.
When it comes to this. So you can check out the thread yourself. It's on there. It's the #1 thread on Beachbody Workouts right now. I got quite a good response. I cannot read them all. A lot of them go into great detail. So if any of you that did respond are listening to this, I am thoroughly appreciative of all the responses that I've gotten, because
so people are just as passionate as you are about this.
It is incredible, the response rate that we got. But there's one that I want to look at in particular, or maybe two, that I was just like, this person fucking nailed it. And this person deleted his username, but his comment's still here. I think it's a man, because I remember him commenting on things before, and he alluded to as such. But I'm just going to read it. Give me like 2 minutes so I can read this, and let me know what you think. So, old Beachbody user here. My thoughts. Yes, there has been absolutely a shift in program quality and direction over the years. As someone who entered Beachbody through P90X in 2010, I would argue that Beachbody has been in a steady decline since 2015 or so. Older Beachbody programs, I would include 21 Day Fix in this group as well, produce truly significant body recomposition results across all age groups and fitness levels. And the marketing proved that. Beachbody ads used to feature dad bod types getting shredded abs in 90 days. Not always 100% achievable, but they could market that goal with the belief that in time, P90X or Insanity or Body Beast would actually get someone there. Not so much with the new programs. Now, quote, results are usually softer goals. Average people are shown losing a few pounds or inches off a waistline, but no true body recomps anymore. Even programs like Lift 4 or The Work, while marketed as, quote, hard lifting programs, don't really create major muscle growth. They are good for toning or people with limited schedule time. But the crazy results that made Beachbody famous in the early 2000s are no longer possible with modern programs. Whether any of that is good or appealing is in the eye of the beholder. Some people don't want to get shredded abs or huge pecs. They just want to feel more able and active with their kid, or lose a few pounds before an event, or just want to stay consistent without spending an hour working out each day. Even Beachbody seems to know this, as their marketing has shifted away from hardcore gym crowd and focusing almost entirely on the stay-at-home mom MLM crowd. OG Beachbody aimed to get people super fit with minimal equipment at home. There was enough money in selling 100 to 300 deluxe DVD kits to justify it. In the age of streaming, however, there's not much money in that approach. Once people own a set of dumbbells and pull-up bars, they're not going to buy those things again for a long time. So Beachbody has to create new gizmos to sell. Beachbody On Demand ropes, bands, sliders, control tracks, and now mixed bikes. The focus of Beachbody is less on getting people super fit than it is getting them to buy into an MLM ecosystem or monthly supplement subscriptions, and the mindset that each new program will be the one to get real results, except they always produce more of the same average results, leaving the users wanting for the next program release. Beachbody is centered around treating their super trainers as celebrities. Tony Horton or Shaun T became sort of accidental celebrities. The workouts came first. The trainers' fame came second. Today, Beachbody introduces new trainers and markets them to you before you've even tried the workout at all. Mm-hmm. Beachbody users were primed to embrace Amelia, Caesar, or Jennifer Jacobs as the new, quote, celebrity trainers before they even announced their programs. In the old days, you were inspired by visual results from P90X or Insanity first and discovered how entertaining Tony or Shaun were as you followed them week to week. That's a very different approach and one I believe is subtle but crucial to the way Beachbody has changed their focus over the years. Beachbody has all but abandoned the gym crowd. They focus almost exclusively on MLM coach system, which tends to be dominated by 1, women, and 2, stay-at-home moms. This crowd doesn't want to get supersonic X-style ripped, as Tony would say in P90X. They are more interested in products, buying and selling, creating a community, and following their favorite trainers like IG influencers. Mm-hmm. That's why modern programs are far less physically demanding than OG programs. You don't see much use of pull-up bars anymore, or intense jumping cardio like plyometrics. Weightlifting is watered down to 2-3 simple sets of dumbbells, and moves are always changing because the MLM crowd thinks new moves always equal new results. They don't want to do the same bicep curls or standard squats over and over, even though, scientifically speaking, repetition is what actually enables muscle growth and fat loss. So Beachbody creates ever-changing moderate intensity programs that give you burn feeling, quote, but never really see much muscle growth or body recomposition. You post your sweaty selfie with your Shakeology, but generally speaking, you look the same as you did weeks, months, or even years prior to Beachbody. Fucking nailed it.
Yeah, there's a lot in there, but that was pretty well
nailed
done.
It. Just the reason why I think I know who this person was that ended up deleting his or her account, I don't know why, is because every time someone says what program I should do, I don't mean to troll the boards, but I'm just like, Body Beast. Just if you're going to do a program, do Body Beast is the best. And this person always like, yes, Body Beast. Body Beast is the best. Okay. And this person always explained like it's the most well-rounded. Muscle lifting isn't going to turn you into, I don't know, China from WWF back in the day. It's if you're a female, it's
so you can still get lean and toned.
You can get lean, and there's a cardio aspect to it. They promote supersets, which elevate your heart rate, so it's kind of like you're doing cardio.
Sure,
but whatever.
Yeah, now, I think the biggest thing. I mean, there were a few, but they mentioned that same the thing I was referring to earlier about the focus is not about the workouts and putting out a product that's going to be effective for your audience and targeting your audience based on that. It's based on the MLM and the way they describe that culture of it just being about the community, which at face value is not a bad thing for, especially if you're just getting into working out and everything. Having a community or having someone to kind of keep you accountable, to check in with you, to just have that support is not a bad thing. And I think that's what appealed to me a lot about Beachbody when I first got involved, because I came from, like I said, I came from a background of dance. And then I always used to enjoy group classes when I did go to the gym. And I always liked that community feel, doing it with other people, having the accountability of knowing there's someone waiting for me to take class tonight or whatever. So I think that can be a good thing, but the whole MLM aspect takes it to the next level of being cultish, not just community.
Right.
And that's what they're pointing out with the celebrity figures. That's also a like red flag of a cult
Yeah.
is if the leaders are viewed as like
gods,
celebrities and gods. Yeah. And people don't question them. They just, and that's what I was saying earlier about, I don't think people are consciously thinking, oh, if I walk 4 steps while I'm doing a bicep curl, I'm going to burn so many more calories. How genius is this? They're just thinking, oh, that's what Autumn's telling me to do. Well, she's an expert. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And she's not even certified.
No, I know. Or it expired or something. She was at one point. I don't know. Yeah.
So I don't want to overlook everything that everyone else said. So I'm going to take nuggets from comments. Someone said, however, the biggest trend of newer workouts are complicated moves that just feel so stupid and pointless. Autumn's programs are famous for these, and in my opinion, they drastically increase your risk of injury. Yeah. So that person agrees with our overall assessment of the new programs. Let's see. There are a few things to keep in mind when it comes to quality. Beachbody is not the company it was 20 years ago. A move from trying to be all things to all people to mainly focusing on what their female-dominated coaches want. They still have great trainers like Joel, Megan, and Amelia, but their hands are tied by what they can do with the limited equipment requirements placed on them.
I feel like it's the opposite. They said they went from being something for everybody to being more specific. I think it's the opposite.
I think we said that too.
I think they went from what the first comment was that you read in its entirety. Like it went from being people who really wanted extreme results, who were ready to take their fitness to the next level, like people who were more gym oriented or enjoyed lifting and were really more. Yeah. It's not the people who just want to, go for a walk 3 days a week and just do it for their wellness. Like it was people who wanted extreme fitness. That's why it was called P90X.
I like a lot of this came from that live instructor that I was talking to you about.
Okay.
I like a lot of the new programs. I'm on my 3rd or 4th cycle of Lift 4/10 rounds, so I guess she's doing a hybrid. Yep. They fit into my schedule and don't interfere with my evening classes. Totally understand. They could be a little more mindful of beginners. The token, quote, fat person bothers me, but they offer solid choices for a home workout. I do not like some of the weird compound movements. I think some of them are just weird and unsafe. Was it MM100? Morning Meltdown 100. Yep, and I did that MBF, one. That's Jericho. I don't know what MBF is. Had some moves that were borderline unsafe, and I loathe the Shakeology push. Yeah.
So Lift 4, the thing I didn't like about, and I felt this with Chalene Extreme sometimes too, but maybe it was just me being new to lifting. I always felt rushed to change my weights, and I think it's also a product of the fact that we have the Select Techs, the Bowflex, so you have to put them in, change the weight, pick it back up, and get back in. Yes. Doing that with Lift 4 was impossible. Yeah, by the time I would go and switch my weight out, especially if I was going from because they do these combinations and it's not one muscle group, if I'm working just arms, I know I'm going to be using 5 to 10, maybe 12 pounds. I'm not changing a lot. But if I'm going from doing squats and I'm using, presses. A lower body, and I'm going to have a much heavier weight, and then I have to switch it all the way down to a 5 pound to do flies or something, I can't. By the time I switch my weight to get back, they're halfway done the set. Yeah. So annoying.
This one comes from the real Dookie Monster. I'm just shout out to the username. I think this lends credence to what we were saying in the first half. I think the overall trend seems to be shorter workouts with less equipment. Generally, I'm okay with that basic principle. So Same. I think 30 to 40 minute workouts are great, but question anything less. I agree. Not every program needs them, but equipment like a pull-up bar and a bench can add quite a bit to workouts. I think the newer programs have been hit or miss. 21-Day Fix, Lift 4, MBF/A, I don't know what that is, are all great. However, the rest are meh. So I think the older programs had far more to offer, but there's still worthwhile content being made. I'm really looking forward to Lift More. Again, the sequel to Lift 4. So it's that sequel thing that people are looking forward to, which I don't blame you for looking forward to thing like that, but it's always what's the next thing. Good point from Good Lord 56. An underrated thing that I think people don't consider about these new versus older programs is the fact that most of the new ones seem to not have much of a test group, or their test group is just the group of coaches chosen to showcase and market it on socials the month before it's released. No, we are the test groups. Mm-hmm. Some of the older programs had extensive test groups, which they found at the end of them what worked and what didn't, and also if they needed to add any more routines to the program. P90X and X2 are the ones that mainly come to mind. I mean, X2 had the one-on-ones as Tony's test bed, and everyone who purchased those were part of the, quote, test group. Feedback was given, routines were tweaked and made more efficient, and that's the best way to do things, in my opinion. I agree. There aren't any more test groups, from my understanding, for the newer workouts.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done any of the newest ones. I feel like there still were in most of Autumn's that I did. Like, I think... Yeah, 80-Day Obsession, I feel like they still had one. I don't know. I can't really remember. Oh, by the way, MBF is muscle burns fat.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And that's not familiar with that program at all.
That's not even... Anybody that thinks that fat turns into muscle, you need to take a biology course.
That's not what they're saying when they say muscle burns fat.
No, but... Okay, fine.
That's
fine.
Two different things.
People have said, yeah, I'll just convert my fat to muscle. It's not how it works. You don't... Fat does not morph into muscle.
No, but
fat
having
burns
greater muscle
and your muscles grow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep Carmen hurry on. Keep Carman hurry. I don't know. You guys in your fucking
keep
Reddit.
Calm and
no,
hurry
it's not
on.
calm. It's keep Carman.
Yeah, that's definitely a pun on keep calm and carry on.
Well, fuck me. I was introduced to Beachbody through TurboJan and TurboFire, then found P90X Insanity and 21 Day Fix. I truly think the last amazing program Beachbody came out with is Insanity Max 30. When I log in, I overwhelmingly do these old workouts. They are more versatile, well-programmed, and fun. I wanted to love the work by Amelia and do enjoy some of the workouts in that program, but I honestly think he's been limited in what he's permitted to do in these programs. It's a good point.
I did the work. I like that one.
It really hurts my heart and bums me out that Beachbody seems to have switched completely to trendy and, quote, flashy workouts that look cool but aren't as effective or realistic. Maybe that's what sells now. I don't know, but I found I'm probably not their target market anymore.
Yeah, I did want to say that too before in the first I also don't think that there's anything wrong. Like, you don't have to be wanting to get totally shredded and ripped to want to get into fitness. Like, right. But I just think the issue is how they market it. And that gets back to the whole, like, they just want to keep selling the next thing. And I think it was still in the first comment where they said they're purposefully creating content and creating programs that will not get you to that point, because then you have no motivation to say, oh, well, it's going to be the next program that gets me to that point. It's versus just saying, this is going to be a good fit for you if you are a busy, you have a full-time career or whatever it is, and you just want to keep yourself feeling good and functionally fit. But they're not. They're saying every single program, no matter how, disconnected it is from true, like the original extreme fitness, they're marketing it as going to get you ripped.
I can't pronounce this guy's username with this person. So, El Chupinazo.
Okay.
We're going to make an episode of me pronouncing Reddit usernames. I think the argument that the new programs are worse would only hold up if they replaced the old programs, but they didn't. Instead, many of the newer, quote, worse programs fill shelf space with more beginner-friendly programs that they lacked in the early days. If you want to beat yourself up by doing Insanity, it's right there waiting for you. True, I do. Plus, there's been a great variety in the last couple of years. Fire and Flow, a beginner-friendly program, just came out. But in a couple months, they'll release Lift More, which promises higher volume lifting than any program to date. They're doing, I think, a decent job of putting out something for everyone. I've said it before, but I think a lot of the, quote, Beachbody's gone downhill attitude is because people are in better shape now than when they were when they first started the programs. The first program you did off the couch will always feel more difficult than your 10th, regardless of the actual intensity. True. On top of that, I get the sense that the company is way less scammy MLM focused than they used to be. I agree. Getting reliable streaming revenue takes a lot of pressure off the aspects of the business. I agree. So I do think that I have never felt nearly as fucking destroyed as I did the first time I did peanut. Like the first time you and I did their plyometrics routine.
Yeah. Oh God, I know.
I couldn't walk.
I know. But I guess my pushback to that is, so for example, me now, I am nowhere near where I was in terms of my fitness,
I think the assumption is continuing.
Right. But to disprove, like if I were to choose this whatever for everybody program from Autumn, and a P90X workout where I am now, where I've taken a few years of taking a step back. I walk, I do yoga, whatever, ride the bike every now and then, but nothing intense. Guarantee you P90X would be way more intense. Like, I don't think that's because I view myself as like getting off the couch again.
Yeah.
Like, I got off the couch for the first time like 10 years ago, whatever, but I feel like I've kind of reset. And not that I lost everything that I gained from years of working out regularly and more intensely, but still, I feel like objectively there are some programs that are going to be more difficult and more intense than others.
Last one, no restrict. From my experience, the original workouts were more niched compared to the recent ones that are made to be sold to everybody. You had workouts for abs, workouts for butts, workouts for big muscles, and workouts for athletics. Not everyone has a bit of everything. Now everyone has a bit of everything, so they can sell it to both newbies, veterans, skinny people, fat people, men, women, you name it. Also, new programs are shorter and shorted. Okay. I remember P90X or Les Mills doing 1 hour or more workouts. Now everything has to be done in 20 minutes. You don't even get to properly warm up in 20 minutes. Lift 4 is around 30 minutes only. What the hell? Weightlifting and cardio in 30 minutes? Of course it will take you 2 years to see any results. Facts. And the other main difference is that older people use the basic vanilla movements, so you got to actually learn how to do a proper squat, a clean, and a press, a deadlift, and a lunge. All the new ones have all these sorts of hybrid movements between 2 and 3 basic moves. It's all about doing a lunge while doing a shoulder press or doing a squat, then dropping into a push-up while crawling like a spider on the floor. I get why they are doing it, marketing, but you don't get to learn the foundations, which are extremely important.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. I think that's what I was saying earlier. If you're a true beginner and this is your first time doing this, you're probably going to hurt yourself. If you have a background in fitness and you know the basics, you can kind of like adjust it and be like, okay, no, that doesn't really feel right. Or at least I know I have to complete this movement before I move into the next one to not hurt myself. Well,
I mean, I guess what we're saying when it comes to Beachbody programs is I'm encouraging anybody that if you're going to do at-home workouts and you're just starting, especially if you're just starting in fitness, know that, and it may sound hypocritical of me, I do tend to go to the gym, the actual gym, often. Not as often as I'd like, but often. You're going to eventually have to go to a gym if you continue this fitness journey. Right.
Well, if you want to continue, I mean, yeah, if you plateau and you have the desire to have more intense results or to continue to build more muscle, but like you can maintain, you don't need to.
Of course. I'm saying if you get passionate about it and you want to push yourself further.
Right. There's only so much you can do
You're not going to have the equipment to do it.
Yeah.
At home, no matter what, unless you get an actual gym.
Right.
Like with, I don't know, cables and shit, but you're very limited with an easy bar, pair of dumbbells, or a select text, a bench, and a pull-up bar. Like as much as that may sound to a beginner to throw in their living room, and I get it, eventually you're going to be like, I'm so fucking bored with all this because you're going to run out of shit to do. So there's nothing wrong with starting off with at-home workouts. I want to be clear. Yeah. If you're going to do it, and you really only have 30 minutes, I highly encourage you just to go to P90X3. It is probably the last. It's probably the only shortened workout program that I would recommend that isn't dangerous.
I disagree.
Why is that?
What do you think mine is?
21 Day Fix?
Yes.
I think P90X3 is a little bit more well-rounded. But
maybe. I mean, I have more experience with 21 Day Fix and you have more experience with P90X3. So I think we're kind of biased. But I think that is kind of, and that I think was around 2015, which one of the commenters said, like that was kind of the turning point.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true. I feel like that was like where it started to go downhill. But 21 Day Fix, I still feel like was a really solid program. And like I said, the nutrition program, I think you have to take with a grain of salt and like, you know, make it work for you. But the workouts themselves, I feel like that is, it kind of met the, like meets in the middle of everything we're talking about. It is only 30 minutes. So if you feel time constricted or you're just not willing to invest more than that, It separates out the muscle groups, so you're not trying to do a million combination moves.
You said it was a bro split, so
yes, it's a specific muscle group on each different day. It does prioritize recovery, and talks about how important that is, and yeah, it includes the foundational movements. So I think it kind of hits all the basics of the things that we said are most important, but does it within 30 minutes. I think you can't really, like, that's about as good as it gets. I feel like if you try to do any more than that, like you try to make it shorter, you try to make it more intense, you try to combine muscle groups, then it gets all fucked up.
Yeah. All right, fine, fair. I would not recommend anything new. I haven't tried anything new, but from what I'm reading and from what people have posts and the videos I've seen of people demonstrating certain movements,
it's not enticing.
And they're pointless in terms of a fitness aspect. They're pointless and they could be dangerous especially if you're a beginner. Could be very, very dangerous. So I highly encourage you not to participate in any of the new ones if you're going to do them at all. I do encourage you, if you are starting off in your fitness journey and you want something quick and just to jump in, get your toes wet. If you're going to do P90X or 21-day fix, once you're done with that, I would encourage you to visit some of the older ones if you find yourself with more time, or if you want to take it to the next level, I encourage you to go to a gym. By then, you should know the basic movements that will produce results or to maintain or whatever. If you want to maintain, just keep doing the program over and over again, but you're going to get bored. You know the basic movements, you know how to do them safely as a result of these programs, and you can take it to yourself. That's the thing that I've learned about Beachbody, is that when I first started, I was so geared towards, I need someone to tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. I need someone to have a timer on me. I need someone to shout out each rep so I know. And then once you remove yourself from that and say you're your own person and you can sort of have fun with it and at adjust. The gym and make your own program.
Yeah.
That's creative. It's fun. It's motivating. And just trust yourself. Mm-hmm. Just get in there and kick ass. You don't need a gym. I'm not saying you do. But
most people don't have the motivation or
I'm saying if you want to progress in your fitness
journey.
To
even just make up your own workout is a lot of work.
Sure. I'm just saying you could
find over time.
You can find routines that you can bring with you to the gym.
Sure.
I'm just saying you don't need someone telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the structure of having an instructor or being in a class, but I've always been that way. You're a more independent, kind of private,
at the gym.
You just want to be on your own in your own head, right. So I think it just depends on what your style is.
Do not talk to me at the gym.
Yeah. And maybe I was late to the game about this, but until recently, I didn't know that Peloton had workouts other than for the bike or the tread.
They are probably trying to compete with Beachbody.
Probably, but I think they're doing a pretty fucking good job.
There you go.
Their workout library is extensive. Granted, the one thing, the app is kind of hard to use. I find it's hard to filter down and search for workouts, but I think I probably just need to get used to it a little bit more. And it is more expensive, but I didn't realize how extensive their library was. If you don't own a bike or not only not own a Peloton, but not even you can just use any bike, stationary bike. We got one for a couple $100, but even aside from that, if you don't have a treadmill or a bike at all, they have a ton of different yoga, cardio. They even have guided walks and runs that you can do outside. It's really versatile.
Going to bring this back full circle. Beachbody versus Peloton is going to turn into
a thing.
True Classic Tees versus Fresh Cleat Tees.
Oh God. Yeah, and I'm not trying to promote one or the other. It's just, Peloton's newer to me, so obviously it's kind of like a shiny new thing, I guess. And I feel like we're just kind of beyond I feel like Beachbody has run its course for us.
If you're just looking to get in shape, stay in shape, do just get it out of the way, you want to stay home, fine. It doesn't have to be Beachbody. It could be Peloton, like you said.
Yeah, and they have you can filter your search by the amount of time, whatever.
If you want to progress, highly encourage people to get in a gym. I know it can be daunting. I know it can be intimidating rather. I find myself, I just started to do, because I'm so used to doing barbell deadlifts and, dumbbell deadlifts and dumbbell squats. I just started actually doing them with like Olympic bars and seeing how little I can only deadlift 2 plates, and I see people stack on like 5 plates next to me. I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, I'm so weak.
Matter.
But it's really hard. I sympathize with people that get in their own heads about the gym being intimidating because of those around you. But I will tell you this. From my experience at a gym, it doesn't matter what you look like. If you're super overweight, if you're super underweight, if you're ripped, no one gives a fuck about what you're doing. Everyone is paying attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Period. So no one's looking at you. I have to remind myself of this too. No one's looking at you. No one cares what you're doing.
No one's judging you.
Unless you're doing something outrageous like the videos you see people in Planet Fitness and shit. Unless you're doing something really weird, then yes, people will look. But if you're just...
If it's about the amount of weight that you're lifting or the speed you're going on the treadmill.
I say this mostly to those that are intimidated, that are overweight and or obese. No one cares. People are probably admiring you just to be there. They're probably saying to you, or saying to themselves, keep going. So don't get intimidated about the people at the gym, especially if you're going early in the morning like I do. No one gives a fuck about what you're doing that early. Trust me, I am not paying attention to you at all. So I just say that because I know people like at-home fitness because they don't have to deal with the crowds at the gym, and maybe they're intimidated by it. Eventually, if you want to keep going on your fitness journey, for lack of a better way to put it, you got to get over that, and I encourage you to get
or you can do it mom style like me and wear a baby for, you got 15 pounds strapped to you and you push another 40 pounds in the stroller and you power walk around the neighborhood.
You can do that.
With like a Sesame Street t-shirt on or something, or your, girl mom hat, like in full mom mode. You still get a good workout that way too.
That being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I know we went a little long, but again, you haven't heard
it's been a while
since March.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day to all the kings out there.
You didn't even give me a chance to say it to you.
Oh, go ahead.
Happy Father's Day. Jeez.
Well, fuck. We drop the kids off at daycare and we pick them up around Mother's Day. Oh, here's a flower pot and here's a bottle of wine. Oh, and we made this custom wine glass for you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, and there's a card in there and we laminated a poem for you. This is great. This is Happy Mother's Day. And for Father's Day, Willy Wonka style, you get nothing. Good day, sir. Nothing.
I know. It sucks. I'm sorry that you didn't get anything from daycare for Father's Day. My only consolation was that I feel like our daycare has been going through a lot of COVID stuff. There were like 16 cases in the matter of like a week and a half, and a lot of the staff has been out, and it's just been a cluster. So I feel like they maybe just didn't even get a chance to do any crafts, but I don't know. I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I hope they give you something next week. I'm expecting
next week to get at least 3 Ryobi tools. Lawn tools.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to talk about on the next episode or when that will be.
Yeah. See you like at Halloween, maybe.
I would like to talk about our top albums because that will be a fun conversation. I think a lot of people can.
Well, I have some exciting. Well, we both do have some exciting live music stuff coming up this year.
We'll save it. Save that one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not going to go over the socials because whatever. Unless you want.
I mean, I'm on Instagram. I'm still lurking, even though I'm not posting very often. So we're at While She's Napping on Instagram.
All right. Don't email us because no one ever does. You guys more than likely will interact with us on the IG. But that being said.
Or on Reddit.
Or on Reddit now. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Maybe.